Hi, this is Randy Randall of No Age and host of the podcast Hyphenate with Randy Randall. I want to welcome our newest sponsor of the show, DistroKid. DistroKid helps musicians get their music on all the major streaming platforms, and artists keep 100% of their royalties. Hyphenate listeners get 30% off at distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate. Again, that's distrokid.com/VIP/HYPHENATE. Go get your music streaming everywhere now.
What's happening? Thanks so much for tuning into Hyphenate Halftime. It's me, your host, Randy Randall, with my co-host on all of these amazing halftime journeys and excursions, Mr. Aaron Farley. How you doing this Monday after Thanksgiving?
I'm good. I realized I'm dressed as like a lager, not the beer. I'm not dressed as a beer. That would even be weirder.
Not with the L, or no, they all have L.
They
not with
both
the
have
A.
an L.
Yeah, not with the A. The O lager, not the A lager.
As if I have been logging.
Yes. How are the woods? How's
the woods are good. We're just driving up the hill a matter of moments ago, and
yeah. I mean, you live in the land of loggers, right? I mean, must be logs. Or at one time there's a lot of historical logging. Yeah,
yeah. The whole lake of Lake Arrowhead was originally created as a logging site.
Oh,
so yes,
it wasn't a real lake. It was like a man-made lake. They created.
No, there's no real lakes in California. What are you, crazy?
Oh, wow.
There's no lakes. Isn't that amazing?
That's wild.
All of the lakes are man-made, other than like if you go up in the Sierras or something. And
okay, gotcha.
But anything down here is all Big Bear. So originally, Big Bear Lake. So there were supposed to be 5 lakes, and they were made to capture the water, and they were going to bring them down into the San Fernando Valley, or not San Fernando, into San Bernardino, down into San Bernardino. And so it was Big Bear, and Big Bear has like 2 lakes, kind of, but it's one main lake, and then Green Valley Lake, which is on the way to Big Bear. There's a turnoff, and you go up, and it's really high up. It's at like 7,000 feet, and there's Green Valley Lake, and then the next one is Lake Arrowhead, which is where we are.
Okay.
Then the next one is in Crestline, and I'm blanking on the name of it. Lake Gregory.
Oh my god!
It's Lake Gregory, which is like
that sounds man-made. If I didn't think of all names,
made by someone named Gregory. No, I don't know. And then, there's actually one little tiny lake by us called Grass Valley Lake, but it's just like a pond for a. It's now like a big pond for like next to a golf course. Lake Gregory, and then they were all gonna, and then there's one more down on the 15. Oh my god, I'm gonna forget the name of that one. I'll remember it.
It's anyway, okay,
but that's all down in the desert.
Welcome to the Lake Times.
Yeah. So the idea was they were gonna dam up all of those. They build all those lakes, and then they were gonna attach them with pipes so you could pipe the water through all of them, and then that would go down into San Bernardino. Turns out the desert side, Hesperia, not too happy with that. And they're like, no, this is literally where we get all of our water from, is meltwater from that side. Until you go over to like Mount Baldy in that area. They basically on the west side of the 15. So this is all east of the 15, which now is the 15. They were like, nope. And they sued and they won.
Oh, good.
But the logging companies had already built all the lakes.
Uh-oh.
So they were like, ew. So what are we going to do with all this water? Well, we should make them into campgrounds and stuff. So Lake Arrowhead was then made into like a lake for recreation.
Oh my god!
But before that, it was all logging. It was all the logging sites, and there's all sorts of major like wars with the local tribes and the loggers. And the loggers, I think the original logging, it was all Mormons. There's a lot of Mormons in Southern California. You know, like Mormon Rocks, you know that place? You don't know Mormon Rocks? Oh my God, you have to go to Mormon Rocks.
I thought you were talking about a music festival, like the Mormon Rock.
Mormons Rock. No, that's Mormons Rock.
Oh, okay.
That's different.
Not Mormon Rocks.
No, not Mormon Rocks. This is Mormons Rock. It's a lot of people. Don't worry. A lot of people get those two confused. No, Mormon Rocks is if you go up the 15, like you're going to Vegas, and you go up over the little pass right there above the 210. And then if you're going to Mountain High, have you ever been to Mountain High, the ski area?
Yeah.
Okay.
I fell down the whole hill.
Oh, okay.
They charge you $20 for lift pass and back in the 90s and just fall down the hill all day. And go,
now it's 120. Oh, God. And but that means you have driven past Mormon Rocks.
Okay.
Because you go up the 15 and then you turn onto the end of the 2. Is that the Cherry Blossom Highway? What do they call it?
I love that this is turned into what is it? California Gold with Huell Hauser. This is amazing. I don't know these
here
things.
We go, Randy.
So you're telling me this is the end of the 2. The Cherry Blossom Highway is the end here. I heard that dude was a big partier. He liked to have big orgies.
Oh man, I heard some stories about.
I don't know if it's true or not.
I've heard some stories that his nickname was Huell the Mule.
Ew.
I heard that from a somewhat validated source.
I don't even know what that means. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, me neither. But
I looked it up though. The only state in America that doesn't have naturally occurring lakes is Maryland. For some reason.
Oh,
there's lots
of none.
There's no freshwater ponds, no natural body of water. There's large enough to qualify as a lake. There's lots of deltas and rivers, and other bodies of water, but no naturally occurring lakes. But California does have quite a few naturally occurring lakes.
I would imagine they're all up in the mountains. Somewhere,
I would imagine, probably. It looks like you got
Lake Tahoe and
Lake Tahoe, Mono, Donner. Salton Sea, I guess, was natural, but then as unnaturally drained.
It's
something happened with the Salton Sea.
They were taking all the. That's a whole different story.
That's a different one.
I didn't know that was maybe there isn't a dam there.
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong.
We'll continue. Yeah, well, this will be our lake talk segment. This is good. We can always come back to
lake talk with Randy and Aaron. Hey, so we're talking about lakes.
Have you
found any new lakes, Randy?
Well,
so they made it into a recreation area.
Okay.
Yeah,
and everybody's happy with that, and everyone lived happily ever after.
Mormon Rocks. I'll finish this real quick. So as you're driving up the 15, there's on the right, there's a huge rock formation, and it looks like kind of a mountain that's tilted over to its side. Okay. So it looks like an emo haircut, like a blasted, like it's blasted out to the to the north or whatever.
Blast, yeah,
but it's massive. I mean, hundreds. Yeah, just look up Mormon Rocks.
Yeah.
And try not to find the music festival.
Oh, they fucking rock.
Do you remember that punk band in LA for a while that was called the Mormons?
No.
And they dressed up as they had like the backpacks and
suit and ties. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Mormon Rock kind of looks like the other rock over in Acton. What's that one called? Vasquez Rock. You know about Vasquez Rocks?
Totally.
Yeah.
But Mormon Rock, so the San Andreas Fault runs right through it. Mormon Rocks. This is why they're tilted. Because of that San Andreas, that fault. Bam,
it's like people like to get engaged there. I see lots of engagement photos.
Yeah, I've done some photo shoots there. I've shot some bands there. Yeah, awesome. It's a fun spot.
Looks great.
Anyway, I don't know. Oh yeah, Mormons. So there's a whole plaque on if you drive up the 18 to Lake Arrowhead.
Oh, wait, now we're on the 18? I thought we were on the 15. Wait a second.
No. Now we're on the 18, driving up to my house. Driving up the Gotcha. There's a little pull off, and there's a little plaque, and I was like, what's that plaque say? I've driven by it a million times. Pulled over. This is a plaque commemorating the original building of this road by the Mormons. And turns out the lumber company, I think, that started all this whole area was all Mormons.
The big conspiracy. It goes back to Big Mormon. Well, the last time I was in Salt Lake
Mormon.
City,
Don't trust Big Mormon.
last time I was in Salt Lake City, I was going for the film festival thing, and someone told me that I guess the Mormon thing is they own a lot of casinos. Even though they themselves don't gamble, there's a lot of money invested. There is a type of Mormon. I wouldn't necessarily call it mafia, but
that makes total sense.
But money, legacy, endowment, some other kind of words.
There's a lot of money in Mormonism.
There's something about it. Yeah. Does the Mormon Church own a casino in Las Vegas? Okay.
As opposed to Clint Woodside, there's no money in books. There is money in Mormonism. This is the opposite. To bring it back to publishing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a story for a whole other. How the Mormon mob helped build Las Vegas.
Oh yes! Oh my God! I would love to do a podcast just on that. That'd be amazing.
Well, we'll put a pin in that one. That's coming back.
Next year.
From lakes to LDS. What do we know? What's lurking in the desert? Yeah. Oh my God! How was your turkey day?
It was good.
Did you guys eat? Did you guys eat turkey?
Yeah. Ate turkey and ham and salmon. Some pasta and some other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like an eclectic feast, not your traditional feast.
It always is at the Fryer. The Fryer household likes to make a lot of food. They make a lot of dishes, multiple dishes. There's a lot of people who like a lot of different stuff. So
I see.
There's something for everybody.
Good.
Even if there's only 12 of us, there's at least one dish. There, at least, at the very least, yeah.
No vegetarians, no vegans though.
At times there has been at times, and there's some good like some spinach, like a spinach casserole.
Ooh.
I feel probably was not vegan. Definitely vegetarian.
Yeah, probably got
some
cheese
sweet
and butter.
potato. Yeah, some sweet potato pie, stuff like that. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Good veggie stuff.
Yeah.
I'll say probably not full vegan, but
some good veggie options on the sides. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How about you?
Yeah.
How was your?
It was good. Yeah, we went up to Marin area, just north of San Francisco, for my wife's 30th high school reunion / Thanksgiving / alumni women's basketball game.
I saw some shots on Instagram. Yeah. I saw Shannon putting in some buckets.
Yeah, man.
Some buckets. Did they win?
It was gnarly. Yes. The women's alumni.
They beat the high school kids?
Destroyed the high school senior varsity team. I wasn't expecting that. I thought these ladies were going to, thought the kids were going to go easy on them. But these ladies, they dominated. I realized
there's something to be said.
Well, you may know this. High school children, especially high school girls, aren't really like built like women in their 40s. You know what I mean? They're usually. I think a lot of ladies had at least 100 pounds on them on the competition. When you hip check somebody with that extra 100 pounds, it really you could really plant a foot there. You could really plant a screen, a pick and roll screen, and those girls aren't going past you. And there's also something about just I think the general life tenacity and the aggression.
Well, they really want to win
of women. Outside of high school ages. These ladies were not fucking around, and they were swatting fouls. They were throwing elbows. They were rebounding.
Were they talking
blocking
trash?
Things. I couldn't hear. We weren't that close, but it seemed as though the by the looks on their face, they were playing to win. They were not going to.
The high school kids looked scared.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So was it only her class?
No,
or was it multiple?
it was open to all alumni, and I think they ended up having about 20 women sign up, maybe even a few more. And traditionally, you get 5 people on a basketball team on the court at a time.
Yeah.
So they took turns. I think so they kind of had like little groups of classes around age groups. There were some of the ladies who were like, just their alumni, but still in college, playing basketball on the college level, or playing or just out of college, and then further down. So they kind of grouped them in by ages, and each group got to play like half of a quarter. So that makes sense. So on there for about 5 minutes. But yeah, 2 of her other girlfriends from her class, the class of '94, were on the team with her. We're on their squad, and then one other,
that's awesome.
a couple other people from surrounding classes. But it was impressive. I was shocked. It was a lot of fun. And then every time they called like a timeout, or it was like in between quarters or anything, then all the kids would just rush the court and then start throwing free throws. And it was a whole like other kind of like show. It was like the Harlem Globetrotters in between the quarters. Yeah. All the kids were just throwing. Yeah. Everyone had a really good time, and it was wild.
Wow. That rules.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. If anybody gets an opportunity to go see an alumni homecoming basketball game, go see it. It was you will not be disappointed, even if you don't know anybody playing in it. I think it's still fun.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds there's a lot to deal with for 30 years after high school. So that you can if you can channel that, you can channel that rage and the anger that you still have towards the high school stuff that you never let go of. You really channel that towards those kids. Whew.
Yeah.
I want to be on the receiving end.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. Just kind of driving around town. I think last time we were up there, I think was for her 20-year reunion. So it was 10 years ago. And Ryder was just 1 year old then. And
that's crazy.
It's wild. Being back this many years later, but it's beautiful. It's fun.
Have you been to any high school reunions?
No, the 20-year one was when we were out at Desert Days doing one of the Soundfield performances. We were like doing the one in the tent. I think it was the first year we went and did that inside the tent with Christopher. And his
you spent it with me instead of your high school class.
Yes, yeah. Right. Well, yeah, but I think it was the kind of thing too. I think that how it is with these types of things. I think I just I was happy to be working and doing something fun and creative. Yeah, and totally. It was that kind of thing. Like, I got a gig. I got to play in a noise tent while Wu-Tang and Primus headline on the main stage.
Oh yeah,
I got a side stage noise tent. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Who else? There was someone
Flaming
else
Lips
who played
maybe
that.
were there on that one.
I don't remember.
Tame Impala, something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
They all blend together. But
it was Sean Lennon and
the Frog Brigade or something.
Les Claypool.
Yeah,
it was actually pretty good. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, they had like
Wu-Tang.
The live oil
I was
thing.
a little bummed. There was
really?
Method Man was not there. It was also a little weird because I remember that
ODB's son.
Aged ODB's son, but they had kind of aged out of whatever that the median age of Desert Days, and like most of the kids that were there were like, I think I'm kind of know this song, maybe. Like I just remember seeing people look up and like
more our generation than whatever
I know
the 20s were doing.
Yeah,
then
they were at least like 20 years younger than me. So Wu-Tang was like their parents' music if they listened to rap.
Oh my God. Wu-Tang's forever.
Yeah. Wu-Tang is forever. That is true. 100%.
But yeah, no, I haven't gone, but I think I am going to go to something this year. I don't know if this is 25 years, maybe something like that. I don't think it's an official thing. It's just like at a pizzeria in our town. Okay. I saw one of the Facebook posts, and it's kind of like a general, like if you graduate from this, year to this year, sort of a wilder sort of thing rather than an official thing. I think that was the other thing too. The one for the 20th one was like at a fancy ballroom in Laguna Beach in a kind of fancy part of town. And it was like you had to pay for like, it was, I don't know, $100 something, and you had to look like everybody dressed up and was, it was a whole other kind of thing. I was like, I'm not trying to go to prom, again.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to relive prom 20 years later. Like, if we're all just wearing jeans and t-shirts and eating pizza and catching up, that sounds fun. But if we got to go, like, valet park cars and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, wear tuxedos and things. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pass on that one.
Yeah.
That's
I'm just
not my
so nervous
time.
that I would I just know I won't remember everybody's name. And then I won't, the couple times that I have run into people from high school, it's always great. But then it seems like they remember so much more than I do about like, oh, do you remember so-and-so and this and this? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have a good memory of the past at all. For like, I have some very specific memories, but most of it, I'm like, I don't know. But then this last one during, you said Facebook, and I started seeing people post some photos from Facebook, and I was like, oh, that looks like, all these people that I knew in high school. And then I was like, oh my God, that's my 30-year reunion. Did I get invited to my 30-year reunion?
Yeah,
I don't think I ever got anything.
What year did you graduate in 94?
93.
93. Oh, yeah. So it would have been last year.
Yeah. And so,
but you got to be on the Facebook. You got to be looking for it. They're not going to come find you.
Well, they used to, though. That
really?
was the whole, that was the whole idea of like,
you.
if you were the president of the school when you're a senior or whatever, like you put together the reunions. I don't know. Anyway, I was like, oh, I didn't even get invited. Well, obviously I don't really keep in contact with anybody from high school because they probably would have gone. But
yeah,
it's fine. It's all the way up in Spokane, and I don't know if I could have even made it anyway.
Yeah. So I think so. Yeah. But I mean, in terms of like numbers, I was just trying to look up mine here real quick. So, I mean, I always say we had at least 500 students, like in our in my graduating class size. I just looked up now. It's 2,100. So 2,100. So just say 2,000 students are in the whole high school. So if you divide that by 4, that's about 500. Yeah. So, I mean, when you think about like not knowing anybody, like there's 500 people in the class side. Like the chances are good I don't remember any of them, and they don't remember me either. You know what I mean? That like the idea of like any kind of like community or like camaraderie, like, hey, let's get 500 random people together 20 years later. Yeah. Remember this? Like, I remember 10 of you. Yeah. Maybe 12, but if we remember each other, we're probably still in touch. Like the 10, 12 people I remember, I know what they're doing. We've stayed friends.
Yeah, I think it's the couple people that I still follow on Facebook that I'm like,
right, exactly. That's what Facebook is for. Doing. Yeah, Facebook is basically for high school reunions. That's the whole point of it. It's like it's the living high school reunion, right?
Yeah,
it's like
no, it's true.
It's like,
it is true. I remember the 20-year that it was like getting planned and everything, and then it became like a big multi-generational one. Like you're
that
talking
seems
about.
Cooler. Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, but it was at a place and it was really big. And and I was like, I don't know.
Was that the, what's the hotel with all the elephants in downtown Spokane?
Oh,
what's that called?
With all the elephants, the
elephants,
the old one, the super old. Hotel.
Yeah. But they have like jungle things painted in
fried. It. Yeah. That, it's the,
Spokane's
I should
famous
see how much
hotel.
This is what it would feel like.
Spokane.
This is what it would feel like if I was at my reunion. Yes,
the Davenport. Yeah.
If I was at my reunion, like you remember that one thing, and I'm like, I need to slowly do the Homer Simpson into the bushes right now.
Yeah, or you can just not show up. Well, I think that's. I hung out with so many people that were outside of my class size too, like the years above. Like I was a freshman, like drinking 40s with seniors.
Oh wow!
And I was definitely getting in trouble from an early age of all that stuff. So I mean, I like the idea of kind of a wider class, but the chances I would probably know more people if it was for
that makes
more
sense.
Classes. Because by the time I was a senior, I felt like most of my friends had already graduated, and so I was just kind of hanging out with them while they were figuring out whatever their college or non-college, paths were. So, Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's fun. It's a fun thing to think about, though. I like the idea of it. I think more now, like at this age. I think there was that kind of thing, like 10 years. It's like, ooh, it's like too early.
Too close.
Yeah.
Way
20
too close.
years is probably fine, but it's almost like, now it's so much time has passed. I don't even care. It's like, you got to get that good 15 year, maybe 30. Yeah, exactly. You got to kind of age into these things, or just never. I don't know. Maybe there's not for everybody.
You do 30 and then you get all the people that have like little kids, and then also like, oh no, I'm a grandpa. I have 3 grandkids. Like, oh, this is a wide scope.
That's what Shan was saying. Yeah, I mean, for her 30th, it was a lot of, my parents are in a home, or my parents are, not doing well, and my kids are, we're looking at colleges, or they just started colleges. And,
it's crazy.
We're on the younger side, I think, of that a little bit, like just having a 5-year-old. But, but it's fun. It's fun to kind of look and see what it all is. I definitely saw like older teenagers of some of her friends. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we have to look forward to. I see this. I can see these. I can see when these children become teenagers. This is how it goes.
It's fun.
Yeah. So Dorothee Perret was a guest last week. Yes. 25 minutes into the episode, we should dissect last week's episode as is the mission statement. Dope press. She did you know Paris LA magazine? Had you ever shot for them, or had you seen them?
I didn't shoot for them, but I know of it. Yeah,
I think she was friends with Wendy Yao, who Dean and I were friends with. Was when we first started No Age stuff, and would do things with Ooga Booga, her boutique in Chinatown early on. And so I think Wendy was a great connector, especially for us as a band early on. She introduced us to a lot of cool people like Dorothee and Oscar. Dorothee's husband, Oscar, is this incredible kind of conceptual sculptor, designer, and artist, Oscar Tuzon, who makes these really cool sort of installation pieces, bigger sort of works. So it's been fun kind of knowing them. I think when they were living in Paris, where I think we talked about it in the interview, but we slept on the floor. Like Oscar had this really cool kind of like indoor sort of wood thing he kind of made that was sort of like a bed, or sort of just like a sitting area. It was this very geometric shaped wood thing, and we slept on that. And
was it made for people to sleep on? Or
he invited us to, so I would assume so.
You're assuming other people maybe had slept on it before, but maybe not.
Yeah. Let's see. I wonder if I can find him. Oh yeah, here we go. But it's really cool. It was really fun kind of seeing here. Maybe I can share some of these things just for our audio listeners. I'm sharing some images of Oscar Tuzon's work. If you Google Oscar Tuazon, he's an American sculptor, and he works with wood and these kind of cool structures and shapes. Again, my level of art, I like to look at things, but I don't know. I have more fun, I think, just shooting the shit with artists rather than trying to explain it or break it down. But it looks cool.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed with my 4 episodes of talking about art and art books. Like, that's cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of the same way. These look like his like structures. He's building kind of structures, but I can see why or how it would be confusing whether you're supposed to like lay on it or not touch it.
I think at least when we were there, he invited us to sort of interact with it and very much, fall asleep on it and enjoy the space.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love that, the kind of creating art that creates a new kind of space or really messes with the space that it's in or changes the space that it's in.
Yeah. So
this stuff is amazing. I need to look into it more.
Yeah. It almost kind of looks like a skateboard ramp deconstructed or something, or like a architectural sort of like speed. It was something kind of like this, like that I'm showing you here. That was like, sort of a seating area / grind rail, like a hubba or something you could kind of like nose slide on or like sit on.
Yeah. Like something that you could use maybe, but then when you look at it, it looks a little uncomfortable. Like, yeah, but what would you use it for?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
we were talking about books, French.
Oh yeah.
French.
The French.
So we can just start right up on books, because I
the
do have
French.
something I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Yes.
With her book.
Tell me.
I will once you start recording.
It's recording.
Oh, it's recording?
It's
Hi, Randy.
Hi. Oh, the French.
Were we recording that whole thing? Oh, jeez. Oh, wow.
Have you heard those?
I didn't get the countdown.
No, I didn't. It's okay. The what are those? Citizen Kane. Why can't I think of his name? Oh my god, my brain fart. Who's the actor and director of Citizen Kane? You know. Doesn't matter.
Orson Welles?
Orson Welles.
I don't know.
He has a great series
Was
of
it?
clips. Yeah, Orson Welles. Thank you. Of like audio outtakes or like video outtakes of like where he's like he's like drunk, like Paul Mason wine, serve no wine before it's time. Oh, the French make the best wine. We're saying the peas in July. You shouldn't be saying the peas in July when we're looking at a snowy field. It could be too late. We're going to be out of the field. No, it can't be said. I tell you, this is so good.
I know not of which you speak. But I
Oh,
want
the
to hear
French!
it now.
I will send you clips of the Orson Welles
the French.
outtakes. So good. Or who's the other? Not Gene Krupa, the drummer, Buddy
Oh
Rich.
my god, Buddy
That
Rich,
one, like
just yelling.
these
at
guys,
everybody.
not my kind of guys. You're out there, you're blowing clams. These guys, You're fucking around. Like, oh yeah, he's yelling at the band. It's so good.
Yeah. Isn't there some from Orson Welles where he's really pissed off too? Where he's like yelling at the sound guy or something?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
his thing is a little bit more passive aggressive, where it's like, show me how you can do this, and I'll come over there and blow you myself. It's impossible. It can't be done. It can't be said. What is this? This is preposterous. And then the other one is Casey Kasem. Coming to the goddamn death dedications.
Yeah.
You gotta be talking about the dog death dedications.
Yeah. I have my cat has.
Oh,
We got Leo.
hey,
Leo
cats.
needs attention.
All right, there we go. Okay, so so Dorothee Perret has Dope Press, and also Paris LA magazine. And her husband Oscar makes incredible, cool sculptural, conceptual designs.
Yeah,
And
I mean, what a couple,
right? Power Arts creative couple.
Yeah, and I think I loved how it really is like all the publishers just talking about. I never got into this to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely the theme. That is like I feel like that is going to be the theme for the next 4 years. Like that there's going to be, and not just politically, but it just seems like you have all of these things happening that is kind of, that's the conversation. Are we doing this because we're enjoying it, because we're into it, because all of those things, or are we just here to make money? Is the whole point of art and commerce and music and writing and movies and all of that, are we trying to make the biggest blockbuster ever and everybody knows the stories already and it's just entertainment? Or are we going to go into this kind of niche areas, and are we going to make it? Is that going to end up making sense for artists to exist in these niche areas, and that's going to be okay because there's going to be enough money, just kind of how there used to be enough money. Like you could be in a punk band, and if you went on tour enough and you sold enough 7-inches or enough CDs, you could actually make a living for a little while. Is that going to just go away? Or are these little niche things going to keep existing? And is that the fight? Is that the fight of art? I think it kind of is.
Eking it out on the margins. Yeah.
Yeah, and figuring it out, like what is that? Like, why are we here? Right? I mean,
Right.
it's like a
Well,
slightly bigger question, but
that's easy. Yeah, the why, the how do I survive? How do I pay rent? How do I not become homeless or depressed?
yeah,
There's one. I think there's that thing too of like, oh, I understand, or from an artistic perspective, but then there's the levels and degrees of compromise. Is that's I mean, it's not about the like, oh, I'm just the debate is almost set up on like a black and white sort of dichotomy in that way of like, oh, well, I could just make a bunch of money. Like there's a great job out there. We're just waiting to pay me a whole bunch of money as long as I sell my soul. And it's like the nuance that I've seen maybe from personal experiences. It's like, no, there's no soul selling job. Keep your soul. That's not even worth anything to us. We don't even need that. Like you're just kind of unimportant and and sort of forgotten, in the margins of life and culture. And then, and by the way, you probably need to get a job bagging groceries too, just to kind of whatever you did was insignificant and you're broke.
Yeah.
It's but wait, I thought I was supposed to like sell my soul or something, or vanquish the enemy through creative pursuits and make a big fuss of it. It's like the reality is a lot more of a wet fart. Which is far more depressing and probably closer to the reality of like, okay, it's not this Charles Bukowski even like sad, depressing, romantic, drunk, and dying in the gutter thing that sounds like the options you think in your 20s, like, well, if I can't be a big success, then I will just wither away on the vine and
die for my art
in the shade of the crushing corporate oligarchies who would not allow my voice to be heard. And it's like, no, you probably won't do that. You'll probably get sober and realize life's worth living and it's fun and it's good, but it's grinding and kind of monotonous and boring.
And it can be rough. Yeah.
But
it can be rough, and even the fun parts can be monotonous and boring at times.
Yeah,
often, actually.
Yeah, it's like, no, we really like your voice. We want to give you this grant. You just need to go ahead and fill out this 800-page thing, but we want to give it to you. So just go ahead and fill out the paperwork, and we'll go ahead and we'll finance your whole art career. Like, good, yeah. I'm lucky. Did I win the lottery? Kind of. Yeah, that's a great thing. But I also don't want to just be filling out paperwork the rest of my life. I want to make important art. It's like, well, you're going to do that with a lot of paperwork.
Well, and these things that stick around, like what are the things that stick around for a long time that we still revel in? This is to me what makes that question so interesting, that many people, not all people, obviously, but many people are so hateful of like, oh, you're just going to do art for your life. Oh, you think you can just sit around and draw? Oh, you're just going to make music? And you're like, what do you all base your lives off of? Art and music. Like what else? We're not basing our lives off of like accounting or like Crocs or like, you know what I mean? It's like all these things that they're like, oh, you're just going to go over there and paint. Oh, it's so important. You're like, name a painter. Everyone will go, oh, Van Gogh. Blah, blah. Yeah. That person is from 200. You couldn't even name what they made, but you know their name, right? Because these things are in museums. You don't have museums for like car tires. I mean, you probably do, but like,
Michelin,
you will.
The Michelin company is
the Michelin museum.
We've been to
the phone
Clermont-Ferrand.
rings at Randy's house. Yeah. Hey. There are multiple tire museums, actually. There's actually a tire museum in every state.
The big tire guy comes onto the phone, but it's actually Cause calling me from his phone. Like, oh, wait.
Big tire.
I've incorporated the big tire man in everything I do.
But I do think that's
we played Clermont-Ferrand, where Michelin is. It's a French town. And it's the Michelin factory thing. And so there's a lot of cool things. Anyway,
wow.
But you're right. No, but again, the importance of art is I guess not up for debate, but it's I don't know. I think I've just sorry. You had a
but I was going to say that, but people make it like that. I think what happens, or what the United States is wrestling with at all times, is, are we going to be happy or are we going to have money? And those things are like, guys, there's places, there's ways to do it so that both things are a little closer together to each other. Like there's not like
Right.
you don't have to give all the money and all the opportunity to a small amount of people. We can figure this out. We can still have cultural artifacts and cultural identity and cultures and things that don't have to rake in millions of dollars to exist.
Right.
These things are possible. And I think like even like when we played with a couple of our friends' bands from Australia, they would say, hey, book us a tour in the US. Like we book a little tour, bars and whatever, 5 shows, 10 shows. And then they would go and write an Australian cultural grant to the cultural head offices, whatever. And while they were gone, their rent was paid, their bills were paid, and it was a specific amount of money. And then they got some money, I believe, to put towards their plane flights. And it was because they were taking Australian culture out into the world. Great.
Beautiful.
And there's like punk bands literally played for like 15 people at one place. They were the ones. I don't know. I don't know if we even really.
I don't think I met them,
but they shared our stage when we played at FYF when it was downstairs at the Echoplex. Because Sean couldn't get them on in time, and so we played half our set, and we just left our instruments up, and then they came in because they were 3-piece also, and they came and played half a set. But it was like literally shows like that. It wasn't like, oh, well, which venues are you playing at? They were like, oh, you're going to the United States and you're playing 6 shows. Great. Yeah. And this is why like the music and culture, whatever, at least at that point, this was like 15 years ago, in Australia was like vibrant for that type of music. It wasn't always just like, I'm against the man because no one cares about me. It's like you have these cool, weird bands, and then the Australian government helps to get them out into the world because they find it to be important. It's like, no, we actually think it's important to have a live band playing at a bar when you go to have a drink. We think that's an important thing for society. And now here it's like, yeah, that's great. But do you also have $40 because that's how much the tickets cost minimum? Or like any big band or whatever. It's like tried to go to a show and it was like $250 for tickets. I'm like, this shows how unimportant we think things are here, right?
Well,
when it's $250,000 to go to see someone play music for 1 hour, that's crazy.
I mean,
just go to Disneyland, Randy.
It's gnarly.
It's cheaper.
Oh, geez, no, not anymore.
$200.
No, Disneyland. But if you want to get on any of the rides, you got to pony up an extra $400. You get pay $200 just to get there, but then you're just standing around waiting to get more money for food or to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
It's my narcissistic tendencies. I think in this post-election season, I think maybe I'm girding my loins to a degree, or maybe seeing things in a magnified view of anticipation and fear. But I get a sense that there is this quickening of pace or quickening of development of this race to rich and serf. And but I won't say slavery, but some type of serf, like a feudal state, sort of the new paradigm. And I think capitalism in one form or another will always grow towards that, because that's the inevitable outcome. Capitalism is just, all one person owns everything and everybody else works for them. What I mean? At some point, if you want to win the game of capitalism, you have to eat everybody else, and then you whatever you shit out.
It's the only way that it works.
Yeah,
because greed has to run it.
Yeah. So the feeling I have in regards of like the fears or anxieties of the next 4 years really feels like this like sense of like, I think the middle class will just, or anything looking like or whatever used to be that referred to like as a middle class type of positioning is really what's going to come under attack, and from so many ways, whether it's tariffs on basic goods, you know what I mean, or things that people buy, or these these kinds of things that the price of things will go up, and therefore, whatever money you are making will go towards those other things. And the profit of that all goes up to the 1% who don't pay any taxes. Therefore, there are no goods, or there's no services really provided for the people for the infrastructure, for any of these other things. So the privatization of, prison, privatization of education, privatization of all kinds of general things, which again, if you can't pay for, then you don't get. So therefore, shanty towns, favelas, this type of Dust Bowl mentality, and then the rich on the golden toilets. It sort of seems to be that's like the subscript or the meta text of what everything that when they say like, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to make America great again. Yeah. Oh no, like the rich people are just getting way richer, and the poor people and anybody who's not way rich is just going to be shoved down towards less and less.
And we'll slowly just rent everything. I think that's been the thing for the last 20 years. So like, no, just get them to pay monthly. I mean, you see everything. Every single app is a subscription. And even Apple, I'm like, God, I can't stop paying Apple because I'll lose all my I'll lose all my photos that are on the cloud somewhere. And I'm like, I looked the other day, I was like, how do I get them off the cloud onto a hard drive? Because I have hard drives. I can get them off to a hard drive.
Yeah.
And it was like,
you don't want to do that.
I'm like, wait, can you
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, behind the cloud?
Can I pull them off the cloud onto a hard drive? I don't know if I can. Please, if you know how to do that, please tell me so I can at least, I need to research a little bit more. But I was looking at that going like, yeah, I mean, they're trying so hard to get you to lease your car, right? Like just always payment, just get used to that $300, $400 payment. I'm like, no, it's a payment. You can pay it now. But what you do is you just trade your car in every 4 years and then just get a new one. You'll just pay. It's fine.
Why?
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Why would you want to own something that's so difficult? Please just pay. Just rent everything. You will never own. Anyway, that has nothing. Yeah. Okay, actually, this does have to do.
In the great words of Guy Picciotto, what could a businessman ever want more than to have you sucking in his store? You are not what you own. You have nothing. I don't know, man. It's
I wish they would get back together.
Oh Lord,
that's what I'm waiting for.
They're back together in my heart every day. I feel Fugazi in my heart.
Well, I didn't know Ian had a whole new band until Clinton.
The Evens?
Clinton. No,
Which
the
band?
new one.
Oh,
there's a whole new one. He mentioned it on the podcast, and I listened to it, and it's like
Kuricki.
It's like just without Guy.
Yeah.
It's like the Ian parts. It's like all the Ian parts of Fugazi, which are great.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't have like the melodic other parts. Yeah. But it still has the Ian parts. I'm like, I'll take this. I'll take half. I'll take half Fugazi.
3/4?
Is it 3/4?
No, I don't know. Maybe it's half. You're right.
Is it who's the drummer? Brian I don't remember his names.
I don't know. I'd have to look this up. I have not kept up with this.
But after that, I listened to it in the car, and I was like,
"Oh yeah, no, it's Ian and Amy from
the Evens,
and then Joe from
that's who it is.
Fugazi, yeah,
yes,
so
Joe
yeah,
Lally.
Yeah,
and it's great. It was awesome. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. It sounded great. I like the vibe.
Are you saying you're a patient boy? And you'll wait and wait and wait.
I am a patient boy. Wait. But this does come back to what I was actually thinking of with the podcast and talking about, because she talked so much about like how she put the magazine online, and that totally makes more sense for the digital age and everything, which totally makes sense because magazines don't really make sense, even though I love magazines.
I love magazines too.
But that what I thought was interesting when she was just talking about it and talking about, touching the paper and all that stuff, is that the thing about the internet, that it has all the information in Spotify and, all these things. It's like, it's so easy. It's great. I can listen to whatever I want in my car, all that stuff, but it's missing the sense of touch. Like a computer has no touch. right? Like you're never, you're seeing things, you're hearing them, and you can manipulate it and everything, but there's no touch. Like everything is not happening in real, like in a real space that you can touch. And I think that is where the humans, like that we really do need, to a certain extent, that kind of touch at some point to really lock in with something, right? Like you can see I mean, I don't know, it's even not even necessarily touch, but being in a physical space with something. I guess this comes back to the sculptures too. It's like you could see all of those on the screen and it could be amazing and whatever, and even if you can't touch it, but being in a room with it and being able to walk around it, being in a 3D space. And I think that's what's interesting about the publishing and the books and, photography. I think maybe that's one of the reasons photography is kind of a weird art, that there isn't a lot of touch. It's very flat sometimes. And that can be like, make people go, I don't know what this is. Is this real? I can't touch it. It's flat. I can't be in a space with it. Whereas a painting, you can go up and you can see the paint and you can see all this stuff. And it becomes this like, oh, I see the space of this and I see the 3-dimensionality of this. And I think that's like what you miss with the digital stuff as opposed to a book or a magazine. That's like, yeah, the words can be the same. The photos can be the same. Everything can be the same, but your body is kind of yearning for that, being able to touch something and go like, yeah, but what does it feel like? What does it smell like? I want to smell the pages. I want to I want to open it up, my mail, and smell a new magazine or whatever. And that's the thing that will never just, I don't know, computers, I don't think, until we can like be inside the computer, I guess. But even
it's hard. You wonder if it's generational too. I mean, I can totally relate to what you're saying. I think there's a tactile sort of human sort of element to it. You know what I mean? Like you getting a piece of mail, it's like from your friend that like they wrote all on the outside of the thing and they taped some weird stuff on it. They put stickers on it and it smells like them, or it feels like, there's a coffee stain in the corner, or there's a thing, you get a letter versus like, hope this email finds you well, or even the most sincere email you'll ever get will never feel like the thing that somebody sent you in the mail. You're not going to print out that email and put it in a little finder or a little binder and go, oh, I felt so warm when I got that. Maybe you will, depending on how you feel of his emails. But and it could be our generation, but I think it's the thing too of like, when you first said that, about like just the physical versus just the digital stuff, or like how bad people want digital to feel like it means something. I flashed on this thing of, when Dean and I have toured, people will say, like, can you just shoot a video just saying, hey, Boise, we're coming to your town. We'll see you there at the bar on Thursday. Go buy tickets. Can't wait to see you, and we're usually tired or on the road, or they're like, and then it always feels like this is so insincere and so disingenuous. And we're like, but they're like, it really helps sell tickets if you did this thing, can you just say something funny, just hold your camera up and say something? And you're like, this is like, it's, and we've done it, and well, I'm sure we'll do it again in the future, but it literally feels like that thing of just like, hey, like, it doesn't feel honest or genuine, but it's that thing too. Like, even if I saw like, my favorite band or whoever, like Los Angeles, we're coming to play your town. Get ready to buy your tickets. I'd almost be like, all right, I'm good. Yeah. No. Well,
You're like, who made them do this?
I already either have the tickets because I was already excited you were coming, or I'm like, oh, this is how I found out about it. Like, it feels fucking weird. I'm not into this kind of thing. Like, like what, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
we're gonna come see our show. It's just hard to like fake that sincerity, and maybe that's a bad example because it just feels so weird because you're being requested.
I think that's a good idea, because I'd want the monster truck guy to be like, Sunday, no wage.
Yeah, we just have to lean into the artifice.
No wage at the local theater.
Well, I think that was the thing, even like pre-digital stuff, but like MTV or these types of things where multimedia, interactive, whatever art, video game bullshit, but it felt like like those music videos that felt cool, or like you felt like you were there. You know what I mean? Even I think that's what even like the Smells Like Teen Spirit thing. It's still it's like at a school with like cheerleaders, and it was saw a live band, and however artificial they all looked, there was something about the energy of the artist or something that came through it, or those kind of things. That's that so it's digital or you're not real, but you have your own sort of like tactile sort of thing. You're like, I remember where I was when I saw the TV show, or when I saw, Nirvana Unplugged, or when I saw this thing or that thing. But I just don't know if that happens. Like, oh, I remember I was taking a shit and I saw this video on Instagram. Whoa, it was fucking awesome. That was so cool. It's like, I'll never forget that moment. But that could also just, like I opened up that with this part of just saying, it could just be our age. We're just nothing new is finding us in an intimate kind of way that's going to touch us and change our feelings about things. But I have to imagine our children, or, generations younger than us, have that shit all the time. I heard this song on the radio. I looked at this TikTok and I went, wow, my life is different. It's been changed through digital media. And I just don't, my gates are closed. My receptors are no longer open to receiving life-changing information via my phone.
Well, and I do think that, like, watching something on TV or something that's made for this, like, made for digital consumption. Like, I'm doing a show that's a YouTube show.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm doing a show that's supposed to be on TV. It's on MTV, and the whole deal is music television, and we interview bands. Or a podcast. That totally makes sense. But I think that where there's that thing, and JC talked about it too, that he was like, no, we've never actually made one of our books into a digital format, because he was like, there's all the copyright issues and stuff, but he was like, I don't understand what that would do for us, because we're actually making a physical thing. And I think that that's where like, it's just, they're trying to push these, like, wow, we're not going to have physical stuff anymore. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen, guys. How about we just have better physical stuff, and then just put all the crap on online?
Yeah,
that's fine. The online is a great place for just like mindless, goofy cat videos and people falling off roofs and all the stuff that shows up in my, as a 49-year-old man on Instagram, that I'm like, well, they got me pegged, because I will watch these videos one after another, because it's like, he likes this much skateboarding, and then put in a couple snowboarding clips, and then we need some people falling off stuff.
But I think ultimately, what happens though is, I think it's establishing a language. It's a new cultural language, and a new sort of like, neurological pathway of like communicating, through these types of like symbols and quick bite-sized videos and all these kinds of things that are just like, it's defining culture, in real time, and it's rewriting over itself, minute by minute. And this kind of thing of quick culture, fast, everything. It's not just fast fashion. It's fast music. It's fast art. It's fast photography. It's fast video. Everything's faster. And I remember being, a kid. When I was a kid, it was like, oh, this quick MTV quick cutting thing is for the ADD generation. All this kind of stuff. And I remember watching, like, what do you mean? This is just the speed of just cool things. This is just like, this is just cool, whatever. Well, get off my back, mom, dad. What do you know? But it's the same kind of way. Do you know what I mean? Young people, why would I watch something more than 2 seconds, Dad? What do you? Yeah, who's got time for that? Exactly. Who's got time for that? I need this quick stuff. And who's to say you're wrong or you're right, or it's like that, like slang and all those things. Like, you can't really be against slang or new words or new language or those types of things, because ultimately it's not for you. If you don't, if you're not getting it, or you don't like it, or you rebel against it, that's its job. Yeah. Language is this living, breathing sort of entity of expression, and it needs to change, and it needs to upset the previous generation in order to define its user group of, of like whoever that is. They have to be defined by who they're not, or who doesn't get it, who like just cements it even more.
And I think the problem is now that the kids don't own that stuff anymore. Where, like, even with our generation,
it was co-opted the second it was created.
The kids, like, it was co-opted eventually, but like, you, as a skateboarder, you owned skateboarding for a little while. Like when you first started, and you and your friends, and you had your ramps, and you had all your stuff, and you had your Thrasher and whatever, but it was still like very insular to like a little thing. Mm-hmm. And even any music or whatever, like you have your venues, you had your like you were 19 and you knew someone who was 21 who was old enough to rent a space, and they started a venue, and that kicked off a whole thing in whatever city you were in, and 10 bands started, and you just owned all that stuff. And I think what's happening now is that the stuff is owned often by, like, the only way that you can get your stuff out there now is through these massive corporations who won't even tell you the algorithm of how to sell stuff, because they can just change it whenever they want. And so now the culture is being only happening on these devices that you don't even own. You don't own anything.
Right. Your expression is never really yours. The whole
you don't even know how they work anymore. At least marketing before, you're like, well, here's how you market. Here's how, like, I'm gonna market, because if I know that if I sell enough things to these people, and if I put posters up in this city and these places, that's where the kids hang out, and no one controls that. Like, it's pretty straightforward if you learn from someone who knew how to do it. And now the rules are like, what are the rules? They're like, yeah, that's the trick. We are the only ones that know the rules, and we change them all the time. And we can actually just stop your band from being seen if you don't follow the rules, but we don't know the rules. Yeah, that's the trick. Don't do anything weird. Because we could take your whole stream of income. I mean, that happens off YouTube all the time, right? It's like one thing, or people that are pro Gaza or whatever, all of a sudden they get blacklisted and they can't go on YouTube anymore. And then all of a sudden, like, wait, that was my business.
That's right. Well, that's the fascism and the freedom of speech. But I think that this idea, though, of like expression is never really your own, even though you think it, like, whatever your thoughts are, the only way to share them is to then assign the rights over to someone else. You know, it'd be like if everything you wrote in your notebook, the second that your pen hits the paper, hits the page, that thought belongs to the corporation who made the notebook. You know what I mean? Right. And this kind of thing of like, just because you're not even about distributing, it's just about capturing your own thoughts or having your own sort of like self-reflective, creative process. Like all of that has been devalued to a place to where the only form of that it takes is, what does it mean to this larger sort of online distribution marketing, data farm, but that's because there is a way to still own it, obviously, you know what I mean? Like, but even outside of like the means of production and things, kind of the, mechanical sort of communism, but if it really, but I think the larger, like, con, or the larger trick that's been played, is that expression is seen as so containing so little value in and of itself that you will just give it away. That's I think where the grotesqueness of it, right? Where it's like, but it's like, don't you know, like, you're a kid writing a love song and it means so much. It's like, yeah, but if I want anyone to hear it, I have to be willing to just give it away, or assign all rights to, where it used to kind of be this thing of like, my manager stole my music, or my publicist stole my music, or these people stole these things from me, where I almost feel like that language doesn't even exist in terms of things being stolen. It was like, well, no, the only way I could do it was to give it away. And the hope is that you become successful enough where at some point you will receive some minor percentage of that, you know what I mean? In terms of somehow ticket sales or t-shirt revenue or something, you know what I mean? You could, but you know what I mean? I think that's the more the head fuck of it all, where it's like, well, yeah, but expression is valueless. So just give it away. Just be happy that you're receiving nothing. Because you need to express yourself, or else you're going to go crazy if you're this kind of person. So go ahead and just do that, and just be happy when you get nothing from it. Yeah. You're like, okay. And not that, and the beginning that takes us back to the beginning there. It's like, it's the story is just going to be, I make something because I have to, not because I'm not doing it for money. I never did this for money, and so you're like, well, yeah, nobody really thinks of like, I'm going to write a love letter to my boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever for money. You do it because your heart feels it and you express it in a way. You know what I mean? I think that's the germination of art, and outside of, commercial art or, some kind of craft, but you're just going to write this thing. And then, so yeah, you would never expect to have money for that. Or at some point that's where the difference between like craft or like pornography, it's kind of thing of like, well, yeah, I have to do all this and I'm expecting to get paid for it. It's like, well, but everyone's just doing it for free.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. I don't know. It's tricky. I think I'd get so riled up in this subject for obvious reasons. I feel like I've had skin in the game from one form or another of like releasing art, and you yourself have as well. And you're just like that feeling of like, well, hey, it's cool. It's just it's out there. You're like,
yeah, what are you gonna do? I don't even know where half of it is.
Yeah.
It's
oh no, I get weekly reports from Apple Music. I get weekly reports from Spotify. I see it. They let me know that people are listening, and I should feel grateful for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't, but it's like, but it feels like there's some kind of weird sci-fi sort of premise where it's like, but that used to mean something. Wait a second. If people liked your band, that I can't remember what that meant. It meant that it mattered. Did it mean it meant that something had value? Because there's nothing that does that now. It's like, oh, hey, that's great. It's a funny brain fuck where just if we're all in some weird larger gaslighting con of like devaluation of art.
Yeah.
So hopefully that there's pillars or there's these publishers or there's some sort of thing will go down to like, did you know people used to pay for art? Like, what?
Or are people are they so kind of distracted, or it's such short amount of times that the art is just marketing now? Or it's like that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
On a Monday morning, it is what it is.
Hey,
there it is.
There it is. Well, speaking of which, this is a good transition. This Thursday's guest will be the commercial endeavor of Good Neighbor Music, which is a rad, sustainable, more eco-friendly way of pressing vinyl records or pressing records.
Oh,
it's
amazing.
It's a very cool new company that's making PET versus PVC vinyl records. I guess there's no vinyl in it. We get into the letters and what they all mean, but I think polyvinyl chloride is the material now, PVC, and it does not biodegrade. It exists forever. You can recycle it, sort of. You can like destroy records and then try to press them into another record, and that does happen in a sense. But there's a whole other function that this company has proposed and is doing now at a plant in Germany. They're going to be opening another one in the States where they injection mold vinyl records that sound just as good, if not better, than the old methods. They're still warm, they're still great, and they are better for the planet. They make less waste. And just everyday making it takes less energy to make them. So the future of eco-friendly and sustainable records, Good Neighbor Music will be the guest.
Awesome.
There'll be three of them. I'll have the founder of the company, Tim, and then two of them is like an engineer, and then their marketing person. It was cool. It was a big kind of thing. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that on Thursday, which is another fun way of looking at. Making physical things that matter in this fucking world, bro. Because what the fuck are you gonna do? Because Jesus Christ, it's like, gotta do something. You can't just sit around and fucking do nothing, right? Fuck, man.
Because I'm old and I need to see stuff. I need to be in the same room as things.
I have to believe that there's something good out there. As much as you follow the rabbit hole too long and just like, oh god, it's dark.
Great stuff.
I've realized a lot of these podcasts are basically like, when you hang out like at a backyard party, like with some beers, maybe around a campfire or something, or just there's like music going. These are those conversations. Like, fuck, it'd be cool. It'd be fucking cool,
man.
Remember when?
No way. You think that too? You thought about that? You ever thought about this, Randy? You're like, uh-oh, this could go a lot of ways.
Hold on. My joint went out. I got to spark it up again. Hold on. Let me figure this out.
You guys ever stretch?
Oh, God. Yeah. Have you noticed? You just wake up sore. Wake up feeling like shit. Oh, that's cool.
God.
Yeah, no.
We do more Huell-Hauser next time too.
Yes, yeah. I expect
my
more
impression on-
lake information, please. Wow,
That's
Jimmy, get a close up of this one. I always like to talk to the camera guy. Hey, Jimmy, get a close up of this. Did you see this? You're telling me.
Look at that. That's an avocado eating dog. Have you ever seen such a thing? That's a real episode.
Oh,
Where he finds an avocado eating dog. Oh
wow.
my God. Huell-Hauser is the
California
best.
gold.
All right.
All right. Well, I'll see you next Monday. Everyone be well. December. Holidays are upon us. Yep.
All right.
All right. Here we go. We can do
sooner than later.
Don't give up now. We're almost
No.
there. Almost the end of this year. More years to happen.
I'm pumped.
They're not going to stop. They're not
No.
stopping.
Look at this.